Agro, look what I've got for you. Snails.
Oh, great. Thanks very much. Yeah, okay. I don't usually give or share or anything, but go on, have a taste.
You want me to try?
Yeah, go on. They have them in restaurants, you know. They call them escargot.
That's right, they do too.
Go on. Quick, have a taste.
Okay.
Oh, while she's savouring the snails, let's go and see what Bob found out about snaily poos.
Did you know that Australia is full of pests? Now there are, of course, all different types of pests. For instance, Agro's a pest, but then you wouldn't squirt him with weed killer or insecticide, would you? Although, sometimes I'd like to. But in South Australia, they've got more than their fair share of pests.
Well, two of the ones that I've been involved with introduced white snails and millipedes. Both of them are introduced from Europe, Mediterranean Europe. The white snails themselves are a problem here because during summer they climb up onto the cereals like wheat and barley, and sitting on top of the wheat and barley they get squashed in the harvester as it comes along, and therefore the farmer doesn't get as much money for his grain because it's got so much snail in it.
So how many snails are you likely to find in, say, 1 square metre of a wheat field?
Well, it varies. You may only get a few, but you can get up to 100. Sometimes you can get up to 1,000.
Now, you're probably wondering why all these snails are such pretty colours. Well, I think it's because it's the summer. And in the summer, everyone likes to dress bright and casual. But then again, I could be wrong. Why are the snails all different colours?
Well, they're different colours because we've painted them. We've painted them with fluorescent paint, so they stand out very brightly and are quite distinct from the other snails that are always in the paddock, and we can then identify snails that we've released at certain points in the paddock and catch them later and see how far they've travelled. We can see if in fact they've moved from one paddock to another, if they've moved from a tree out into a paddock. And this is all critical information so that we can understand how we can control them and when we can control them.
There are thousands of different types of snails, but not all of them are a problem like this particular species which comes from Portugal. And did you know that in their own country, the locals actually eat them? That's it, the answer to the problem. All we have to do is open a few Portuguese restaurants. I've heard they're quite yummy and crunchy, actually.
Well, the snails are found from Western Australia through to Tasmania, South Australia and Victoria, but they're mainly a problem in South Australia and Western Australia.
What can you do to stop the snails doing what they're doing?
Well, we hope to encourage the farmers to clean up their pastures, to eliminate the weeds that are particularly suitable for the snails to crawl on. As well as that, we hope to go to Europe, to their home countries, in a couple of years' time, in the hope that we'll find some of these animals and be able to introduce them safely to Australia to reduce the numbers here.
Now, another serious problem that Jeff's been trying to solve is how to stop another nasty little pest, the millipede. Why is the millipede such a pest?
Well, it does some damage to backyard garden crops like strawberries, but the main reason it's a pest is that there's thousands and thousands of these invade houses, and people just don't like thousands of millipedes crawling across their lounge floor, falling in their baths, getting into bed with them. And so that's been the stimulus to do some work to find ways in which we can control them.
Have you found any way of solving the problem?
Well, firstly, there are chemicals that can be put around the outside of the house, and that will reduce the problem. But the main thrust of our research has been to go to Portugal, where the millipede comes from, and we've found many predators and parasites, and one in particular, a fly, which lays its egg on the millipede, and the young of the fly feed on the millipede and kill it. We have hopes that that may be a good control agent to bring into Australia and solve the problem.
On the subject of millipedes, there was a big soccer match on the other day in the African jungle, and the animals were playing the insects. And there was 10 minutes left, and the animals were winning 23-0. So the insects brought on their star player, Mario Millipede, and he was brilliant. He scored 42 goals in the last 10 minutes.